and welcome to Wellness and Weight Loss, the go-to space for rewriting the rules on wellness and weight loss. I am your host, Whitney Prude, and I'm so excited to have you join us for another empowering episode. In each episode, we explore the common struggles we all face on the path to wellness and weight loss. From navigating emotional eating to finding balance in a world full of conflicting advice and unhealthy quick fixes, we're here to break it down and make it achievable. Here at Whole and Happy Living, we're all about digging deep, discovering the why behind your current health status, and providing the education necessary to make lasting change possible. So grab your favorite drink, find a comfy spot, and let's dive into this journey together. Welcome to Wellness and Weight Loss, the ultimate podcast for those seeking to lose weight, break free from the cycle of yo-yo dieting, and embark on a transformative path to lasting health and happiness. I'm your host, Whitney Prude, and I'm thrilled to be on this journey with you. By way of introduction, I'm a board-certified clinical pharmacist as well as a certified health and nutrition coach. I've worked as a pharmacist at the Mayo Clinic in Rochester, Minnesota for 7.5 years, and am the proud founder and CEO of Whole and Happy Living, where I am now fully dedicating my time. I never intended to be a coach, and I most certainly never planned to be a business owner. But sometimes life has a funny and painful way of helping us end up where we were always meant to be. Before we dive into today's episode, let me give you a glimpse into what we are all about and what you can look forward to in the next 6 months. Now, we have a very unique strategy that you won't find anywhere else in the diet and weight loss world. We sincerely believe in long-term success and structure every aspect of what we do around this principle. And what good is quick weight loss if all your hard work goes down the drain and you're back to where you started from, and sometimes even worse? We believe there are 3 essential components to long-term health transformation and weight loss. Number 1, overcoming mental and emotional barriers. Number 2, mastering nutrition and exercise. And number 3, developing healthy habits that stand the test of time. Now, why do we take this approach? Because all of our behaviors, our decisions and actions day in and day out are driven from inside of us. That means that if we're not taking care of ourselves, not eating healthy, not exercising, not feeling motivated, all of this behavior is just a reflection of what's driving the behavior. And that comes from deep inside ourselves. We often think that food is the culprit. But really, we are the culprits. We often just don't understand why we're doing the things that we're doing. Think about it. If you never ate to soothe emotions, or felt you deserved that donut after a hard day's work, or never pounded that chocolate while stressing about hitting a deadline, or needed that ice cream in front of the TV, and if you knew your true worth and always prioritized your health over everything else, and exercise because it felt amazing, and you knew how much your body needed it, do you think you would be where you are today? Everything you do, every single day, is driven from inside of you. And if you want long-term results, you have to solve the real problem. Food is not the problem. Whatever is driving you to eat the food you eat and to treat yourself the way you do is really the underlying problem. So on this podcast, we are going to help you dive deep to figure out why you have ended up where you are, why you're staying stuck, and what it takes to get out and make real change happen. Each month, we'll explore specific aspects of wellness and weight loss, providing practical insights and actionable strategies. Now, here's a sneak peek into some of our upcoming topics. In month 1, we'll focus on the foundation of wellness, covering topics such as understanding yo-yo dieting, the role of nutrition in wellness, mastering exercise for longevity. In month 2, our theme will be mental and emotional wellness, where we'll delve into overcoming emotional eating, mindfulness practices for wellness, and the psychology of weight loss. Month 3 brings a holistic health approach, exploring topics like sleep and its impact on your health, balancing hormones, stress management, and integrating self-care practices. As we move into month 4, we'll dive into nutrition and diet insights, debunking the diet myths that are out there, exploring the in-depth knowledge of weight loss nutrition, understanding macronutrients, and providing meal planning tips for success. Month 5, we'll shift the focus to fitness and movement. And finally, in month 6, we'll talk about sustainable lifestyle habits and how you develop them and keep them. Now, I mentioned above that life had a painful way of landing me where I am today. Let me share the story that has shaped my journey and the vision behind Whole and Happy Living and our podcast, Wellness and Weight Loss. I learned at a young age that life does not always turn out how we think that it should. When I was a teenager, my parents went through a devastating divorce. I felt like my whole world had crumbled. My most important relationships were in shambles. I was hurt. I felt abandoned. And I had no idea how to deal with all of my emotions and the devastation. I felt incredibly broken inside. Now, I did my best to pick up the pieces and decided that I wasn't going to let this keep me from reaching my dreams of becoming a pharmacist. Now, in order to cope, I buried myself in busyness and overachievement, working to achieve that dream of becoming a pharmacist. Now, over the years, I did pretty well at keeping my pain covered up. I even had myself convinced that I had dealt with everything and I was perfectly fine. It wasn't until I started pharmacy school that I realized this actually wasn't the case. Pharmacy school pushed me beyond my limits of what I could continue to cover up. It was incredibly challenging. One day during my first year of school, I came home completely exhausted after 8 hours of class with hours upon hours of studying to do. I was nearly a walking zombie. I went to my room, and before I could even make it to my bed, my knees just buckled and I fell to the floor. And I sobbed. And I sobbed. And I sobbed. I was so broken. When I was finally able to pull myself together, I realized that my emotional meltdown didn't actually have anything to do with pharmacy. It was about everything else that I had buried for several years. It was about broken relationships, feeling abandoned, abandoning myself, trying to meet expectations, being so lonely and discouraged, and trying to cope with the devastation of my parents' divorce. For the first time in my life, I was finally willing to admit that I was not okay. Now, I spent the next several years going to therapy, researching online, and reading every self-help book that I could get my hands on. The next several years were a very fragile and intimate journey of finding myself and healing myself. Now, once I finally graduated from pharmacy school and completed a year of postgraduate residency, I felt like I had finally made it. I had worked through so many of my struggles. I was finally feeling healthy, and I started my dream job as a pharmacist at the Mayo Clinic. But because life doesn't always turn out how you want it to, a short 9 months into my job, I began to get this pain in both of my wrists, and within about 2 weeks, I could no longer use the computer. I'll just take a short break, I thought, and then everything will be back to normal. 2 months later, I became severely fatigued, incredibly weak, and in an unbearable amount of pain. I was nearly bedridden. I found myself miserable and sitting in the office of a rheumatologist. Now, I'm not going to go into all of the details of how significantly my life had changed, but I knew sitting there in that office that it would never be the same, and neither would my career. There's one part of my story that still to this day I don't like to think about. And it's the part where I have enough medical knowledge to know how significantly mental and emotional stress can impact your physical health. I can't help but ask myself, what if I had lived differently then? How would my life be different now? I laid in bed month after month and began compiling a program that could provide individuals with all the tools and education that they need to completely transform their health in 4 months instead of the 7 years that it took me. I now spend every day doing what I can to make sure that you don't ever have to ask yourself that same question. What if I had lived differently then? How would my life be different now? The time to prioritize your health is now. The time to prevent future illnesses that impact your quality of life is now. The time to take control of your life and your health is now. If you are ready to take the next step and start your wellness journey today, then click on the link in the description to book a complimentary discovery call with our team. We are here to support you every step of the way and would be honored to be a part of your journey to success. Now, if you like what you've heard today, be sure to subscribe to our podcast and share it with a friend and on social media. There are so many women in your community and network who are struggling to take control of their lives and their health. You never know how significantly you could help someone by just sharing our message. Now, if you've been through challenges, we would love to hear your story. So please share. You can do so through our Instagram at MyWholeAndHappyLife. Now, before we go, thank you for joining me on our very first episode of Wellness and Weight Loss. Stay tuned for our next episode where we will take a deep dive into understanding yo-yo dieting. What is it? Why does it happen? And why do we stay stuck in it? Until then, take care of yourself, prioritize your well-being, and remember that you hold the key to your ultimate destiny. And there you have it, another enlightening episode of Wellness and Weight Loss. If you enjoyed today's episode and believe others could benefit from the conversation, do us a favor, hit that subscribe button, leave a review, and share it with a friend. Connect with us on social media, share your thoughts, and feel free to ask us questions or provide topics you would like us to cover. And for those of you who are ready to take a deeper dive into transforming your health, check out our Whole Health Transformation Program. This program is designed to not only help you shed those pounds, but to make lasting changes that will keep them off for good. If you're ready for personalized guidance and support, click the link in our bio to book a call with our team.